Would it be possible that a man who exploits minors does so because his childhood was strictly controlled by his father? If so, then this man was Michael Jackson, the king of pop. And this is nothing. There are a lot more dark truths related to Michael Jackson, which were revealed by her mother, Katherine Jackson. So let's open the layers. Katherine Jackson, born Caddy B. Screws, on May 4, 1930, in Clayton, Alabama, is best known as the matriarch of the famous Jackson family. She was the daughter of Martha Mattie Upshaw and Prince Albert Screws. Katherine's early life was marked by challenges. She contracted polio at a young age, which left her with a lifelong limp. Despite this setback, she grew up in a loving environment that fostered her strength and resilience. When Katherine was just 4 years old, her family moved to East Chicago, Indiana. Here, her father changed their surname to Screws and renamed her Katherine Esther Screws. This move was significant as it set the stage for her future. In Indiana, Katherine met Joseph Jackson in 1947. At that time, Joseph was a boxer and an aspiring musician. They married in November 1949 after Joseph divorced his first wife. Katherine became a dedicated homemaker, while Joseph worked as a crane operator at U.S. Steel. Together, they had 10 children over the next 16 years. Rebby, Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Latoya, Marlon, Michael, Randy, and Janet Jackson. Katherine was deeply involved in her children's lives and encouraged their musical talents from an early age. As a devout Jehovah's Witness, she instilled strong values in her children and maintained a disciplined household. Katherine's support was crucial when her sons formed the Jackson 5 in the 1960s. She not only acted as their costume designer, but also nurtured their ambitions. Her influence on their careers would later be recognized as instrumental in their rise to fame. Throughout her life, Katherine has been celebrated for her dedication to her family and has become an iconic figure in the music world due to her children's achievements. From the outset, Katherine's gentle nature contrasted sharply with Joe's intense drive for success. Joe had grand dreams for his children and believed that hard work and discipline were the keys to achieving greatness. He was determined to turn them into stars, often putting immense pressure on them to perform. This relentless pursuit of success created a high-stress environment in their home. Joe's methods included harsh discipline, which Katherine sometimes struggled to accept. She often found herself caught in the middle, wanting to support her husband's ambitions, while also wanting her children to feel free and loved. Katherine's approach was different. She believed in allowing her children to explore their passions without fear of failure. She encouraged them to express themselves and pursue their dreams, often providing a comforting presence when the pressures of fame became overwhelming. Katherine made each child feel special and unique, nurturing their individual talents rather than forcing them into a mold that Joe envisioned. This nurturing spirit helped balance the strictness imposed by Joe. Despite her efforts to maintain harmony within the family, Katherine faced significant challenges in her marriage. Joe's infidelity and emotional distance strained their relationship over the years. In fact, Katherine filed for divorce twice, in 1973 and again in 1982. But each time she rescinded her decision due to her strong religious beliefs as a Jehovah's Witness and her commitment to family unity. However, the emotional toll of living with Joe's controlling nature and infidelities weighed heavily on her. As their children rose to fame with the Jackson 5 in the late 1960s and early 1970s, Katherine found herself increasingly concerned about their well-being amid the pressures of stardom. Michael Jackson later revealed in his autobiography that while Joe's pressure helped propel them into the spotlight, it also led to feelings of anxiety and fear among the children. Katherine became their safe haven, a mother who offered love and understanding when they needed it most. Michael Joseph Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, in Gary, Indiana, to Joseph and Katherine Jackson. He was the 8th child in the Jackson family, which would eventually grow to include 10 children total. Michael had a very talented childhood, but he also had to deal with a lot of problems. Despite being very young, he had amazing singing and dancing skills that made him a star right away. Michael was performing in front of friends and other people when he was only 5 years old. He was showing off the skills that would make him the king of pop one day. He joined his bigger brothers Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, and Marlon in the family band, the Jackson 5, when he was 8 years old. They played congas and tambourine. Michael's youth, on the other hand, was full of abuse and things that weren't normal. His father, Joseph, was a strict disciplinarian who made the kids go through hard practices, beat them up, and called them mean names. Michael later said that he often cried because he was lonely, and that seeing his father would make him sick. He lost his youth because he was always under pressure to do well. Michael said he missed the easy pleasures of being a kid. Even though things were hard, Michael's amazing ability kept growing. In 1968, Motown Records signed the Jackson 5. In 1971, Michael Jackson started working on his own and made a number of hit songs. By the time he was in his teens, Michael was a famous person all over the world, but his hard youth would still affect him for years to come. His desire to regain the lost innocence of his youth would become one of the things that made him the Peter Pan of pop music. Michael Jackson's first step into the music business was to form the Jackson 5. This group would not only present his amazing skill, but also forever change the way pop music is made. Joe Jackson, Michael's dad, actually started the Jackson 5 in 1964 in Gary, Indiana. At first, the group was made up of Joe's three oldest sons, Jackie, Tito, and Jermaine. Soon, Marlon and Michael joined. Michael, who is only 5 years old, joined this new singing family as the youngest member. There wasn't much time for the Jackson 5 to start performing, but they quickly became famous on the Chitlin Circuit, a network of venues for African American performers. There was a big break for them in 1967 when they won a competition at the famous Apollo Theater in Harlem, New York. With this win, Motown Records head Berry Gordy became interested and signed them in 1968. When I Want You Back, their first song, came out in January 1970. It went straight to the top of the Billboard Hot 100 chart. This was the first of a huge string of hits for the group. In the years that followed, they made a string of hit songs such as ABC, The Love You Save, and I'll Be There. The Jackson 5 were known for their contagious energy, catchy songs, and Michael's amazing singing voice. Their shows were a sight and sound experience thanks to their tight choreography and bright costumes. Katherine Jackson was very important behind the scenes during this time. She was such a good mother that she planned and sewed many of her kids' stage costumes. Her help was very important as she weighed the goals of her family with her natural desire to care for them. Even though they were hugely successful, living in the sun wasn't always easy. The fame put a lot of stress on everyone in the Jackson family. But Michael Jackson found himself as an artist and entertainer during these formative years as a member of the Jackson 5. The things he learned during this time set him up for a single career later on, and also showed off his early work with one of the most famous groups in music history. The independent career of Michael Jackson changed the music business forever. It made him a worldwide star and solidified his title as the King of Pop. After having a lot of success with the Jackson 5, Michael started to go his own way. In 1972, he released his first record by himself, called Got to Be There. There were hits on the album like Ben, which was his first #1 song as a solo artist. This early success showed signs of the amazing ability that would soon captivate people all over the world. Michael released his album, Off the Wall, in 1979. It showed how he had changed as an artist. It was different from the bubblegum pop music he listened to as a kid. It had deeper themes and better arrangements. Top 10 hits like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You were on the album. Both songs proved Michael's amazing vocal range and electric energy. Not only did Off the Wall get to #3 on the Billboard 200, but it also sold more than 20 million copies around the world. It earned him 3 American Music Awards and a Grammy for Best Male R&B vocal performance. His growing success, on the other hand, made his brothers unhappy. As Michael's fame grew, problems started to show up in his family. The Jackson 5 worked together, and while each brother had their time in the spotlight, Michael's personal successes made their work seem less important. Jermaine, Tito, and Marlon were frustrated as they saw their younger brother reach heights that had never been seen before. The frustration was made worse by the fact that Michael's solo work started to take precedence over group projects, which caused him to grow apart from his siblings. The turning point was when Thriller came out in 1982, the most popular album of all time. This groundbreaking album has hit songs like Billie Jean, Beat It, and Thriller. Not only did each song top the charts, but the music films for them became works of art. With its complex choreography and movie-like look, the Thriller video became a cultural phenomenon that broke down racial borders on MTV. Michael's creative approach to music videos set new standards for the business and made him even more of an entertainment superstar. While Michael was adored by people all over the world, his brothers were having trouble with their own jobs. At first, Jermaine stayed with Motown while the other brothers moved to Epic Records and changed their name to the Jacksons. This split made family relationships more difficult, and Jermaine's absence from group projects made the boys feel even more alone. As Michael's fame grew, their personal relationships started to fall apart, even though they continued to help each other at work. Michael Jackson's life had both amazing highs and terrible lows, and the bad times often overshadowed his amazing successes. Child abuse claims that started in the early 1990s were one of his biggest problems. They cast a long shadow over both his work and his personal life. In 1993, Michael was accused of sexually abusing a 13-year-old boy named Jordan Chandler. This was the first big problem. The claims were made public after Evan Chandler, Jordan's father, asked Michael about his son's close friendship with him. At first, Evan welcomed the friendship, but when he saw how Jordan's feelings were changing, he became suspicious. Evan asked Michael for money and threatened to tell everyone about the claims if he didn't get it. After Jordan told a therapist that Michael had abused him, the Los Angeles Police Department began an investigation. Even though there was a lot of scrutiny from the public and the media, the investigation did not find any physical proof against Jackson. In fact, neither of the grand juries that were called to look into the case decided to charge him. But the damage was already done. Michael's image took a huge hit. It was during the second part of his Dangerous World tour that the news came out that he had to cancel shows because the stress and health problems were getting worse. He became addicted to painkillers after having reconstructive surgeries from an accident he had in a Pepsi commercial. This made the mental damage even worse. Jackson settled the case with the Chandlers in January 1994 for about $23 million, but he didn't say he was guilty. This choice was made in part to keep his job from being harmed further, but it left a lot of questions unanswered and made people wonder whether he was innocent or guilty. People didn't believe the deal put an end to the rumors. In fact, many people saw it as proof of them. Jackson's success was affected by the scandal in many ways. His once untouchable image started to fall apart, and he lost a lot of important contracts, including a lucrative deal with Pepsi. Despite these setbacks, he continued to produce music and maintain a loyal fan base. However, whispers of doubt lingered in the background. In 2005, the issue came up again when Jackson was charged with new crimes because of claims made by another boy, Gavin Arvizo. Gavin became friends with Michael when Michael was going through a hard time because he had cancer. When Gavin's family accused Jackson of molesting her after they were seen together in the documentary Living with Michael Jackson, their relationship turned into a nightmare. In this movie, Jackson talked directly about how he often let kids sleep over at his house, which many people found disturbing. The trial that followed got a lot of attention and was closely watched. Jackson was charged with many things, such as molestation and giving drink to a minor, even though the claims were very serious and caused a lot of attention in the media. Michael was found not guilty on all counts in June 2005. This legal victory helped his image in some ways, but it wasn't enough to erase the public's doubts or heal the emotional wounds these events had left. Michael had a hard time with feelings of loneliness and humiliation during these rough years. He felt like the media and most people didn't understand him a lot of the time. His traumatic youth, which was caused by being abused by his father, showed up in different ways throughout his adult life. Many people think that his desire to connect with minors came from missing his own childhood. He looked for comfort in friendships with young fans while trying to recreate the innocence he never had. As time went on, new accusations were made after the fact. The controversial 2019 documentary Leaving Neverland brought these claims to the forefront. There were two guys in this documentary who said Jackson sexually abused them as children. The movie started heated arguments about Jackson's legacy again, and radio stations all over the world stopped playing his songs. Even with all of these problems and controversies, Michael Jackson's influence on music and society can't be denied. Even though his life story had some dark parts, his ability to break new ground and change the sound of pop music is praised. Putting his immense skill next to his personal problems shows a complicated picture of a man who is both admired and feared, showing the difficulties one of history's most mysterious figures had to face. As the matriarch of the Jackson family, Katherine bore witness to both the triumphs and tribulations of her children, especially Michael, whose life was marked by extraordinary success and profound difficulties. From a young age, Michael faced health issues that would haunt him throughout his life. In 1986, he was diagnosed with vitiligo, a skin condition that causes patches of skin to lose their pigment. This condition not only affected his appearance, but also took a significant psychological toll on him. Michael often felt misunderstood and judged by the public, who speculated that he was deliberately trying to change his race. In a 1993 interview with Oprah Winfrey, he bravely addressed these rumors, stating, "When people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me." Katherine stood by him during these challenging times. As Michael's fame skyrocketed, so did the pressures surrounding him. The child abuse allegations in 1993 were a devastating blow for both mother and son. Katherine found herself grappling with the intense scrutiny of the media and public opinion. Katherine often worried about his well-being and tried to encourage him to seek help, but Michael was reluctant to confront his demons. In addition to his struggles with vitiligo and the emotional fallout from the abuse allegations, Michael also faced complications from numerous plastic surgeries. While he initially sought cosmetic procedures to address his vitiligo and improve his appearance, the surgeries became more frequent over time. Katherine later revealed that she believed Michael underwent more surgeries than he admitted, which led to further complications and health issues. These procedures left him with scars and physical changes that fueled tabloid speculation and public scrutiny. Katherine's concerns deepened as she witnessed Michael's increasing dependence on medications. By the time he was reportedly struggling with addiction to prescription drugs, the pressures of performing again after years away from the spotlight weighed heavily on him. Katherine often reflected on how her son had become a shell of the vibrant performer he once was, consumed by anxiety and health issues. Tragically, on June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson died at the age of 50 from acute propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication, a result of improper administration by his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray. His death sent shockwaves around the world and left Katherine devastated. She had lost not just a son, but also a piece of her heart. The financial implications of Michael's death were significant as well. While he had amassed considerable wealth throughout his career, much of it was tied up in extravagant spending, ranging from lavish homes to Neverland Ranch, leading to questions about financial stability after his death. Katherine worked diligently to protect her son's legacy while managing the estate's debts and ensuring that his children were taken care of financially. Despite these challenges, Katherine remained steadfast in her commitment to preserving her family's legacy. She emphasized the importance of unity among her children and sought to honor Michael's memory through charitable work and initiatives that reflected his values. In reflecting on her relationship with Michael, Katherine often spoke about her pride in his accomplishments while mourning the difficulties he faced behind closed doors. She recognized that despite the glitz and glamour associated with being a superstar, Michael battled inner demons that few could understand. So this was the complicated life of Michael Jackson. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos full of suspense.